Today we arrive in a country of Chad, which coincidentally they have the same flag as my country. So yeah. First of all, we're gonna look how those people live, and then we're gonna look at the numbers. The only numbers that I'm gonna look now is population. It's 21 million people and rising. So, being one of those African countries, you're gonna see here, you're not gonna have that much information, and it's kind of sad because probably it's gonna be pretty interesting to have every single street and road mapped with the street view. But we're gonna work with what we have. So look at this. It's a country pretty much in center north of Africa, and more than half of the country is in a desert, and just a tiny bit, as you can see right here, in the green. So it's gonna be probably the most population is gonna live here. But it's interesting to see how those people actually live. Like I say, unfortunately, we don't have that much street views. But look at this. They have a border, let's call it like that, in the middle of the desert. So I'm not sure exactly how they're gonna decide which part is which if you go there. So you might actually go in the next country, in the neighboring country, without knowing. But I highly doubt that people is gonna travel that far in the desert. So yeah, I don't think it's happened that much, and God knows how protected those border actually are. Yeah, I don't think this is exactly from there, but it looks like a mechanical shop, the auto shop, but those guys they put some freon in the AC system, so yeah. But definitely they don't happen in the middle of the desert, so yeah. Let's check anything else we can see here. You can see a lot of sand dunes, and here probably are more rock. Yeah, rock soil. Not exactly that much you can see there. Let's check some other things. Now here it's some sort of a swamp. Looks like that. And then just go right into the desert. Pretty interesting. We have a city here with just a few of those 360s. So we're gonna look at them. Now, we don't have street views. And usually when you find something like this, it means that's a nice camel. Those countries usually are not that developed. So yeah. But this guy has a pool here, so this could be actually a rich neighborhood. As you can see, a lot of people have some pools here. Close to the airport, close to the border. Could be something interesting there. What else can we find in those 360? Like I said, hard to pinpoint exactly where they are and how things are going right there, especially if you don't have a street view so you can actually see the house. Here they have some sort of fence with barbed wire, probably. I thought for a second that's probably the border, but no, not even close. But judging from the satellites, not that much green in this area, which is kind of strange, I would say, because look at this, they are almost right at the border in the green phase. But yeah, still in a desert, they have some trees planted here, but everybody kind of lives. Look at this, jamming together, no paved roads except the main one. Not exactly welcoming, let's face it. Here, pretty much the same story. They have some sort of a lake here. I don't know exactly what's happening, but it doesn't look that well, especially this part from above. Seems fairly modern, I would say, judging by the layout. Look at this, everything it's in squares, everything is exactly how would you expect from a new city, let's call it like that. And here you can see pretty much the same. Now, personally, I don't like it. It's just here it doesn't work. It's very underdeveloped. Absolutely, you can see chaotic. Not that much green. No paved roads. God knows what's happening if they have reliable electricity or if they have running water. It's just, yeah, it's one of those poor countries. It is what it is. It will be more interesting to see how things are there if we had more street views. They have a church here. Yeah, on the ground level, again, not so much. They have some pretty expensive car here in the parking lot. This is from December 2022, so fairly recent. It's gonna be interesting how the economy is doing there. But yeah, here, judging from above, Not that appealing, I have to say. We're gonna move a bit south here. Yeah, we have a at some point probably was a street view there from a small portion of the road, but not anymore. We have a river. Now we go in the green phase. Now here we have a 360. I expect to get much better, but this is a nice store. I'm not exactly if it's exactly in this country, or looks like it could be, but not exactly in this spot. Definitely look at this. But here in the more green area, I expected to see more of the cities and more of those main populated area living here, but actually I cannot pinpoint a big city, at least from above. In this green area we have a 360 here. Let's check that. Hopefully it's exactly from that location. It could be. Yeah, not so great. I'm not sure exactly if they actually live like this, or it's just like, I don't know, it's a vacation or something like that. Judging by the car, this is an expensive car, so probably it's just a vacation here, but look at the garbage, how they live, how they what they left behind. It's just, yeah. And the pants in the tree also. It's not a good sign of a great civilization. Yeah, I can see a big city here in the green, which is kind of strange. Like I said, probably they should live exactly here, and they choose to live at least what we have here in the on the border city in the southwest of the country. Again, it's not that much 360, not that much you can see from them, but it seems like the main population is gonna be here, and the rest of the country pretty much empty. Not exactly empty, but we can see, we can pinpoint this one. There is another one here, pretty much the same layout. As you can see, no paved roads, at least from what we see from above. They expand a little bit here, and keep in mind, this is a country that population is still growing. That is the strange thing about this. Those countries, in my opinion, things are not going great there, and they still have a huge growth of the population, which is kind of insane in my opinion. But we're gonna see how they're gonna end up by the, let's say, the mid of the century, and then by the end of the century. That, I think it will be really interesting to see if maybe it's a bet that, who knows, maybe it pay off, but I highly doubt that. So yeah, we can see we don't have that much to see here. Again, one of those huge countries. How big it is! It's pretty insanely big, and pretty much the population just concentrated in this area. We have some sort of a petrol gas exploration here. By the way, landlocked country, no opening to the sea, as you can see, or oceans, despite the huge size of it. So let's go in the numbers now, because probably it's going to get much more interesting here. So Chad population, 21 million people and rising, as you can see. Look at this, 1955, only 2.7 million people living in this area with 1.8% increase rate. That will be roughly around 48,000 people, and migration minus only 237, which is pretty low. Median age, look at this, keep in mind, 20 years old, fertility rate 6.1, insane, but just wait for a second. And urban population around 5.4%. Now, fast forward to 2025, look at this, population grew almost by 10 times. This is 21 million people and rising at a rate of 3.5%. That will be around 700,000 people, which is insane. Migration minus 123,000, which shows that things are not going that well there. But for the let's say on the history side, they seems to have some positive population. Pretty interesting that too. Median age, look at this. Now it's lower than was in 1955. It's 16 years old. Fertility rate still very high, around 6, which didn't decrease that much from 1955. And urban population around 22%. Okay, so maybe not that many people actually live in those main cities. Depends how they, I don't know, how they calculate the population, but it seems like they're much more, I would say, than this 22%, but yeah. Look at this fast forecast. Now by the year of 2050, they're gonna have around 38 million people, and still rising at a rate of 2.1%. That'll be roughly around 766,000 people, and migrants around minus 11,000. So not that much, as you can see, but people still leaving the country. Median age, now they go back to what it used to be 1955, around 20 years old. Fertility rate now much lower, but still very high, 3.8, and urban population around 34%. Life expectancy here is very low, it's 55 years. That I think is pretty low. Females 57 and males 53. I'm not sure exactly what is the retirement age here, but judging by those, life expectancy cannot be that high. Infant mortality rate 62.4 and death at the age of 5, 97. So pretty huge numbers. But as you can see, they go down. So yeah, definitely things are improving there. Look at this. At some point, there was around 332,000, which is insane. But those were the numbers. Now, let's see more detail this demographic. As you can see, the base of the pyramid, it's pretty solid. They have a male surplus by the age of 20, but not that much. And then they're going to go in a female surplus. Economic wise, well, when I see those pictures, it doesn't reassuring that they're gonna do well. So yeah, but look at this. Growing rate around 4% in 2023, 1.5, 1.7, 3.2. So those are extremely low numbers, especially for small economies. The GDP nominal in 2025, it's around 18 billion US dollars, which is pretty much nothing, and PPP around 56 billion US dollars. Again, almost extremely low for countries like this with this huge population and still growing. Per capita nominal was just under 1,000 US dollars, and PPP around 3,000 US dollars. Agriculture 52%, which is huge. Industry only 6.7, and services 40%. Yeah, not that much. Inflation in 2018, it was around 4%, I guess. So it's not that much. Unfortunately, I don't think we have unemployment, or at least I don't see it here, but hopefully that's gonna be, let's say, a bit lower, but still very high. Now, corruption. Well, the corruption department, as you can see here, they don't do that well, but we see some worse countries. Let's look at them. Chad, only 21 points, but they grew 4 points. So maybe they think changing there. Maybe they're gonna turn things around. But again, I kind of highly doubt that it's gonna be that fast and that efficient that quickly. Okay, the flag is pretty much the same as Romania. What else can we find here? The official language is Arabic and French. Yeah, Islam is 55% here, and Christians 41%. What else can we see here? Yeah, okay, it was a French colony, so that's why they don't do that well. Those numbers with GDP, we find it already. So yeah, not a huge potential here, I would say, for the near future. That's why it's gonna be interesting to see how they're gonna finish this century. It's pretty much an interesting fact about all the African countries, in my opinion, to see how things are going out for them, especially with this insane fast of the growing of the population and a very young one. Like I say, I don't think they're gonna do well, but we're gonna see. Who knows? Maybe we're gonna have some hidden recipe that we just don't know, or maybe we don't see it right now. But again, I highly doubt that that's gonna be the case. But no, who knows? Maybe think it's gonna be a bit different. Look at the military now. Looks pretty good from this picture, but I'm not sure exactly how many they are that well equipped there. They like camels, which is pretty nice. This is the infrastructure of the entire continent of Africa. Pretty good. Yeah, it seems to be, like I said, if the population, it will be stable and start actually a bit going down, maybe those are signs usually, again, with bad and good, that the country it's industrializing. It's much closer to the West, much closer to what pretty much everyone tries to copy the model of the West. But I'm not sure exactly that model is gonna go that well in those African countries. Clearly, they didn't go that well in the Asian countries, not even in the South American countries. It takes more than just copy a system and hope for the best. It's cultural differences, they are history differences, geographical differences. It's just way, way too many things that you have to take in consideration. And let's face it, the government just wanted to copy the system, get re-elected if they have election in the countries, and stay in power as much as possible. They usually do pretty well financially, but the rest of the country, as you can see, with 1,000 per capita, is just like not even close. But like I say, it doesn't matter where you're going on this planet, which country you're gonna go. You're always gonna find rich people and poor people as well. So yeah, not something, let's say, that you're not gonna find it no matter where you go. So probably if you, even in the country of Chad, if we look hard enough, probably we're gonna find I don't know, a Rolls Royce for a Lamborghini on the streets. Yeah, you might take a few years to find one, who knows, but I bet they're gonna be someone who owns one of those cars, even though it's secondhand buy from Germany or whatever. But still, they the desire to own things like this, luxury things like this, it's extremely high. Yeah, again, unfortunately, we don't have that much street views. That would be interesting to see the roads here. Being such a big country, I'm not sure exactly if they have roads to the desert, but there could be a few. But unfortunately, I cannot just find it that easy from above. It's a huge country, but also pretty interesting. Man, probably at some point they have some floods here or something like that. Maybe in a rainy season, who knows? Judging by those, I think there are trees. Yeah, definitely vegetation here. It's pretty interesting. Like I said, those underdeveloped countries, they always have, especially from the Western people, they have like simplicity and, weird enough, that freedom that we don't seem to have here in the West anymore. It's worth visiting one of those countries. Now, you have to make sure it's one of those safe ones. You don't want to get murdered there or something like that, but it's still pretty interesting to have that experience, I would say. But try to choose at safest as possible a country with some locals that you know them very well and they can guide you. Don't just go there backpacking, and definitely not alone. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. This, look at this, how nice it is to check those. Oh, they have some sort of volcano here. Look at this. They don't even have, like I say, a picture here or 360 or something. That could be pretty interesting to see, but we don't. See? Look at those lines. It does look pretty interesting to me. They really do. Look at this, another one here. I don't think it's a volcano here, but it seems to have a bit of the shape like that, but no. It's not. It looks nice, I have to say. They have some interesting thing definitely here, but again, unfortunately, nobody seems to bother to make at least 360, if not just full. How many there are here? It just feels like they got hit by some meteorite or something. Yeah, I think nobody bothers to make those at least 360s, especially in this region, which is could be very nice and interesting to see, but we have to look just from the satellite, unfortunately. But yeah, it's interesting to me. Look at this, another one here. Wow, pretty good, pretty good. Those volcanoes looks pretty good to me. Yeah, I don't think it's not much we can say about this this country. Pretty interesting. You can see it looks like the surface of the Mars almost. Probably it's gonna be insanely hot here, especially in the summer. I think that's outside the country. Yeah, I'm not gonna go there. Look at those lines. I mean, just very nice, very interesting how they look. Just someone scratched the surface here. Looks like that. See? It's probably from the wind, the sand, over the millennials. This is how you're gonna end up with. Pretty interesting. Yeah, again, I don't think we can say that much about countries like this when you don't have that much information. Unfortunately, again, I have to say it. But yeah, it's interesting to say the least. So yeah, well, my recommendation is check the other videos that I make. I have others in much more detail, and especially in South America, in Asia, even in Africa too. And I'm gonna see you next time with the next video.